We're not just help desk and IT support anymore. We have to do those things, right? And we do good at those things. We do very good at those things. But now, first and foremost, we have to be cybersecurity focused. I'm Stephen Taylor. This is WeeklyST. It's National Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and we're giving you a behind-the-scenes look at a growing Chicagoland IT support and cybersecurity company. It's National Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and unfortunately, the cybercrime, the ransomware, has not stopped. The latest headline that I read, 3 hospitals in Alabama held for ransom. They were turning patients away, like triage, so it wasn't anybody who was life or death situation, but they were turning patients away because their systems were held for ransom, completely locked out, couldn't do anything, had to resort to, pen and paper and just old school medicine. That was a few days ago. We just read, it was literally the headline because I went to get a little more data on it, and they're now paying the ransom like everybody else is doing. The question I always ask is, where's the backups? Certainly this stuff gets in and it shuts down all of their tooling, all of the machines that runs the scans and the diagnostics and everything else, and that could be expensive to put that stuff back together. I still believe that if they had robust backup and disaster recovery systems, they could at least put their primary systems back together quicker, email, their line of business application, their EMR system, all that stuff. And nonetheless, the best way to beat this is prevention, right? And the stats are all over the board, but the vast majority of how this stuff is happening is the human element. They're getting in, they're getting someone's password, somebody's giving up their password, somebody's giving up their credentials, right? They probably don't have two-factor authentication enabled, and the bad guys get in and then they, network through there, get to all the systems, probably steal some data, probably steal information, and then hold everything for ransom. And of course, when it's a hospital or services or the government or public services, they're going to end up paying or finding some way to turn themselves back on and get things back running. And it's an unfortunate thing, and it continues to happen all day, every day. And so, being that it's Cybersecurity Awareness Month, we're putting all of our messaging around this, watching what's happening. Again, we've been doing the proactive work, the preventative medicine. I believe faster and quicker than others, but for me right now, it's about putting out more messaging and awareness to this stuff. It's real, it's gonna happen, it can happen to any and all of us unless we're doing the things to prevent it from happening in the first place. And it's education, awareness, and then some of the technical stuff to keep it from happening to us. Like the data is sensitive first and foremost, right? But then yes, there's third-party maybe integrations or tie-ins or people who are interfacing with them. Yeah, from a technical perspective, is it like the common cold where it can then infect others? Absolutely. Anything that touches, the way ransomware works is it takes over a machine, the machine it's on, right? But then it has the ability to infect, just like the common cold, and anything that it touches or touches it, right, is susceptible to then getting that ransomware unless you have other protections in place. Yeah, so we talked last week in giving the talk to Nashville about how we've been able to hire quite a few people in the last 6-12 months, whatever it is. But the funny thing about the talk was not about the tactics of how do you go about finding and hiring people. A big part of that is the setup, right? Having a good culture, attracting people to your business and to your organization because you empower your team, you give them autonomy to make decisions, you take care of them with good salary and benefits. So a lot of that talk was in culture, right? And talking about how, we help our team to do the role at hand, but it's not by dictatorship and you need to do it this way and answering a bunch of questions. It's, what do you think we should do? One of my favorite quips and mantras that get made fun of is go with what you feel, right? I give people the ability to make the decision themselves. 90% of the time, they're not gonna mess anything up. And if they do, we learn from it together, right? Okay, here's how we could have handled this a little bit better next time. And giving them the ability to make a customer happy, spend a little bit of money if needed to do that, right? And then we take care of them. We take care of the team that takes care of our clients and us, right? Whether that's salary and benefits, fully paid benefits, the time off, the flexible time that we have, it's a give and take, right? It's not necessarily about punching in and punching out in the old way of things. It's no, you've got a family need, you have to, be at an appointment, go ahead. Yeah, you can work late afterwards and pick up the time, right? And first and foremost, it's about taking care of the clients, being that we're in a service-based business. So I led a lot of that talk with culture and the things that we do and how we treat our team first and foremost. And then, we got into, just like sales, you have to be farming and you always have to be recruiting and actively out there searching. You can't wait until, oh my gosh, we need another employee. Now let's go out to market and be reactive. We have to be proactive about it. So we're always, the job ad is always rolling, right? And we're always communicating with potential hires, always recruiting, and then hopefully we have somebody on deck, or maybe we're going to pull them in ahead of when we need them because we found a good person to bring on to the team, a culture fit. That was another big piece of it. We're not necessarily hiring for the certifications and the experience in the industry and the, tic-tac-toe box. It's values. Be a good human first. We can teach the technology. Certainly they have to have an aptitude, maybe an engineering mindset, but we're looking for really good people that fit into our culture first and foremost. So that was kind of a big talk on, again, how we've been able to hire, I think it was, 9 people in the last 12 months, which is pretty sizable for our size being at 18. We've hired, half of our team just in the last 12 months. So an exciting and a growing time, but we put kind of the system and the process in play, and we get everybody involved, right? We get our team involved to hire people. It's not just me saying we need to hire this person and then bringing them in and expecting them to jump into the culture. It's the team is bringing them into their culture, welcoming them into their culture as well. Well, in the interviewing process, we're involving more of the team to that interview process. We have a few hoops that we like people to jump through. It kind of is some qualifiers to get them through. Can they schedule a 15-minute phone call? Can they get through some of those questions? And can they show up and can they articulate why they want to work here, right? We're not just looking for somebody who plopped the resume, right? We want somebody who's like, wow, this looks like an interesting place. I've done a little bit of research. I like the idea of this place. And then, in the interview process, they're sitting with a few of, especially in the technical roles, they're sitting with a few of the technical team, again, to see if it's that culture fit, the gel, and then they're able to flesh out some of the more technical aspects. And if we so desire, because we're not quite sure, or would really like to see them in action, we might plug them in for 2 or 3 days. And let them also get their feet wet too. Is this something that they're interested in, right? Being in IT, in the way we do things, it's a lot of firefighting. It's a lot of high stress. It's new every day. It's different. It's not very, the same. And so sometimes that's a challenge for people. They have to be open to, I'm ready. Let's get into the fire, right? And so sometimes that trial run is good for both sides. They get to kind of see how we operate and what a day-to-day looks like. And then we get to see a little bit of how they might handle a stressful situation or a challenging or a busy day. We're typically very busy, especially Monday and Tuesdays, especially after holiday weekends, right? Things do calm down more towards the end of the week or certainly during the summer and vacation times, but it can be a stressful environment dealing with what we deal with. Now we try and, keep that low and help our teams, and we're all there working as a team to solve the problems, but sometimes you can feel, under the gun, a little bit of stress, and so we really want to try and flesh out that fit first. Over the years, we've built a ton of systems, right? But every next iteration of the business and our growth, then almost causes you to not throw them away, but adjust, right? So this hiring and recruiting process we put into play earlier this year has done us awesome, right? But then in a sense, we took our foot off the gas. Now now it's wait a second, let's never do that again. Never lift, continue to do this process always and forever, right? And then we may even need to ramp it up and change it as we move into next year, where we're gonna have to hire another team member every other month, right? We're gonna have to add 6 people next year. So that's gonna be more pressure on that system. So I think what's working is we have all these systems. We've built out all these systems to get us to where we are today. What has to change is everything, naturally, right? Because now we're here and we're gonna go to here. And so we're having to reinforce the processes, modify them, make them better, push them to a bigger scale, and involving more people. When you're a smaller business, you can be in everything, right? But I can't now. You can't interface with 18 people or like as much as you used to when you were 10 people, right? So you have to build teams and systems and processes. And then that only doubles when you double and it gets bigger. And then to the question on reinventing ourselves, that's exactly what we're going through right now. Our industry has been huge for growth, huge for new business. Everybody needs technology. Everybody needs good technology. Businesses without it or without leveraging automation or the efficiencies in technologies are struggling, right? They're not going to be able to grow and do as much business as those who do embrace technology. But then our industry, our environment, our world is going through an entirely new change, which none of us have the choice of, but is cybersecurity and the threats, right? And if we don't get this stuff right as an IT provider, people suffer. And if these businesses don't get this stuff right and protect their people and their assets, then they suffer as well. And now we're seeing it, hospitals, governments, libraries, schools, right? Our public services are suffering because of cybersecurity. So the reinvention of ourselves the world has almost forced our hand, but we're adapting, we're changing, we're reinventing ourselves. So yes, we're not just help desk and IT support anymore. We have to do those things, right? And we do good at those things. We do very good at those things. But now, first and foremost, we have to be cybersecurity focused and protecting data and the employees and education and all of the other things from a technical perspective that we can put in to protect all of us. So it's an interesting time. Thanks for watching. I appreciate your attention to this. Give me some feedback. Let me know what has been useful and what you'd like to hear more about. Share it out to more of your network so that others can see kind of the dangers and things that are happening. We all could use a little bit of a reminder and education on, unfortunately, the cybersecurity threats.